Good morning. Welcome to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ, 750 AM. Father Greg Sakowicz, the rector of Holy Name Cathedral, and co-host Mark Teresi, executive director. You can also listen to us or watch us on youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. How'd that sound? Okay, Mark?
It sounded, you can't even hear that terrible cough you had over last week.
Oh, I'm better. I'm doing much better. Thank you for all the prayers from people. And how was your weekend?
Oh, it was great. I was thinking we had a weekend of have dinners with folks we haven't seen since COVID. Friday night we saw
COVID catch-up time.
Friday we saw neighbors. Actually, Saturday we saw great friends who now have a home in Ireland.
Wow.
Yeah, so they're here a little bit of time. We spent all night talking about Ireland because it's been on our bucket list. We're married 40 years. On the 16th of August, we said we'd go to Ireland on our 25th anniversary, and instead we bought windows for our home. So
Are
we're
you
just
doing
about
something
to,
special for your 40th?
We're saving for Ireland, which will be next year. So we're
that's
planning
wonderful.
Ireland.
That's
In fact, we
wonderful.
agreed we'd just give each other a card and get ready for Ireland.
And I think if we talk about COVID, unfortunately, people, please get vaccinated if you haven't been vaccinated. The numbers, Mark, are going up again, and there's no getting around it.
No, and look at Holy Name. Inside, our staff are going to be wearing masks in all their public places. That's a point of safety for us.
With the masses this weekend, we were not inviting people, but telling people, please wear a mask. And they were very, very cooperative.
Good.
And those who didn't bring a mask to the cathedral, we handed many out. And people understood because
sure.
The thing is, we can't celebrate this is over. It's not over. This Delta variant is on the rise.
Right, and we want to be together, and we want to be safe. We went to see our granddaughters on Saturday, and we wore the mask because we weren't sure what our daughter-in-law would want us to do. And our little 4-year-old Nora, why are you wearing that mask? I mean, they saw us for a year and a half with the mask on, and they're happy to see us without it, but we explained it's just we want to be safe.
And again, I wore the mask at Mass yesterday the whole time except for the homily and talk. Yes, I did. Also, procession in, wore the mask. By the way, do the Chicago Cubs still have a team?
Oh, my word. Yeah, home run. Leave the Cubs and hit home runs.
Yeah. But here's the thing. As much as I'm a diehard Chicago White Sox fan, what the Cubs did was something good for the team because the last couple of years, that core of players had not really produced on any great level deep into the playoffs. And therefore, what they're doing is, you're trading players who the city of Chicago loved and good ball players, but in return getting prospects in the pipeline of players that maybe 2 or 3 years. They call it retooling. The Cubs are rebuilding.
And it's inevitable. I read that article in the Trib about the Cubs, 69 Cubs, when they started breaking that team up. The only one left was Kessinger.
Correct.
And then eventually he got traded.
Yeah, I remember this team won the championship in 16. In 17, fell short of the World Series by losing the Dodgers. 18, I think, lost in the first round.
Right.
19 lost a wild card. It had been going down.
Don't forget 16, they won.
Oh, yeah.
You forgot about that one.
I mentioned it. No, are
you?
you kidding? Because even though I was a diehard White Sox fan, I cheered the Cubs to victory. They are Chicago. We have a great program lined up. 312-255-8408, 312-255-8408. And Sunrise Prayer Service this Saturday, August 7th. The Black Catholic Deacons of Chicago, in collaboration with many priests, deacons, and laity from various communities, will pray together for nonviolence and peace, the healing of our families, schools, and communities. And with us is going to be Deacon Leroy Gill, Mrs. Teresa Gill, and Deacon Alfred Coleman. So to Leroy, Teresa, Alfred, good morning to all of you to the program. How are you?
We're fine. How are you? Good morning.
Good, thank you.
Boy, it's been a while
Welcome.
since with Deacon Leroy as a guest and Deacon Alfred as a guest. I'm not sure we've ever had Mrs. Teresa Gill as a guest.
I don't think so, but thank you for having me today.
Absolutely, Teresa.
Yes,
And
welcome.
Now, Leroy and Teresa, you belong to what parish?
St. Killian.
St. Killian. How about you, Alfred?
St. James on Wabash.
St. James on
Oh.
Wabash, and also Leroy, you were ordained to the diacon in what year?
2006.
2006. And Alfred?
2003.
2003, and they're great deacons in the archdiocese. But I also include, Mrs. Teresa Gill, because in the role that you play, Teresa, is so pivotal in working with Leroy, as a duo in the parish and all that you do. So well, first of all, the sunrise service on Saturday, August 7th, from 8 until 9 a.m. Is that correct? 8 until
Yes,
9?
correct.
And the thing is, how many years has this been going on now?
Ooh, I want to say 12. I think the first one we did was 2010.
So this, I think, would be the 12th one, going back to 2010. And
Yeah, 'cause
now,
we did
was
it in 10. So.
was this your idea, going back to 2010? Who are the founders of this great idea?
I mean, the deacons are. I brought the idea to the deacons, but we all agreed to do it. And see, in the beginning, what we did that was unique was we spread ourselves out from 79th Street Beach to Loyola. So we had a service at 6 beaches at one time.
I remember that.
So each deacon took a beach back in the good old days when permits were free.
How about it?
Yeah, you know what? I remember that because you were on the radio. We were talking about 6 sites for the sunrise service from 79th Street all the way up to Evanston, Loyola.
Yeah, right.
And I
had one up there.
was now. I remember that, and the 6 sites changed to 1 site. How long ago?
Coleman, what do you think about 4 or 5 years ago? Or has it been
What
longer?
was it when the Cardinal was there? Cardinal before he passed.
Yeah.
So it'd be Cardinal Francis George.
It had to
Yeah, it
be
was
more.
definitely before Cardinal Francis George passed. Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, I had a question for Teresa. So I can't leave this show because if my wife were here, she'd say, how did you guys meet? How did you two meet? She would want
Ooh.
She would want the story.
Well, we have 2 different stories.
Okay,
Which
well, let's
story
hear
do
them
you
both.
Let's hear them both. I've never heard of 2 people meeting with 2 different stories. This should be interesting. Forget about the sunrise service. We're going to talk about your meeting.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
In fact, time out. Now wait, time out.
In the morning. How's
Wait. Before you begin, tell us your story, because now you got me interested. I always ask couples who are engaged, how'd you meet? They always have a simple one story. I've never heard this. Well, we got 2 different stories, so we're going to hold this for a second.
Yeah, let's take
Mark, take us to break.
Yeah, let's take a break so Leroy can get his story straight.
Yeah, exactly. Make sure, Leroy, get this right. Don't blow it on radio.
WNBZ, 7:50 a.m., Catholic Chicago. 312-255-8408, youtube.com/Catholic Chicago.
Leroy, we have a long day after this.
Yeah, we'll be back in a few minutes. Leroy, don't leave.
That's right. No, Leroy, I want to hear this. Yeah,
in a
this
few
is.
minutes.
Forget the sunrise service.
Do you have an old bicycle that's not being used? Consider donating it to Catholic Charities Veterans Bike Project of Lake County. Skilled volunteers are refurbishing bicycles to make them safe and ready to be used by veterans to get to and from their new places of work. We also gratefully accept financial contributions that are used to purchase bike helmets and other safety accessories. Our veterans have faithfully served the United States, and now it is our privilege to serve them. For more information on the Veterans Bike Project of Lake County, call 847-782-4219. That's 847-782-4219.
I feel special. I feel great. I got good grades.
We've seen a huge surge in our kids now meeting or exceeding grade level. Come check us out. You may have never thought we were an option before.
We're back. Catholic Chicago, WNDZ, 750 AM on your dial, 312-255-8408. Or you can go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. Before the break, we were talking to Leroy and Teresa Gill, and we're waiting with bated breath for the story of how they met. It's an important story because as a deacon, you did not journey toward the diaconate alone. You journeyed with Teresa, so it'll be fascinating for our listeners to hear how did you meet?
In terms of how they met, I'm sure even Alfred wants to hear this one.
Yeah, exactly.
All right,
So now who's going to tell the story, Teresa or Leroy?
First,
Teresa.
Teresa, give us version number one.
yes.
Okay. I love this small grocery store that was around the corner from the apartment building that I lived in. And I used to see this man following me
Oh,
around the grocery store.
Stalker.
Every time I went to the grocery store, there was this guy just following me around. I got a little nervous at first.
Honestly,
So
Leroy
I
denying.
met your story.
How about you, Leroy?
You married your stalker?
I stalked her, but we met on the elevator. I saw her on the elevator.
In the store?
We lived in a we lived in Lake Meadows. We both were in Lake Meadows.
the same
high-rise.
complex, or did you find her
Yeah,
in
same
her
complex.
elevator? Oh, you were in the same.
But now I'm totally confused here. If Teresa says this man was following her, which is you, and you're saying we met in an
The
elevator,
elevator.
so you're saying you never saw this
I didn't
woman.
start following her until after I saw her in the elevator. How about that sunrise service? No, we met. Yeah, we met in the grocery store.
You did.
That is,
I had saw her. We lived in the same building, and I had saw her a few times in the elevator, but she didn't pay any attention to me at that time.
that is great.
But I saw her.
That is.
And he made me pay attention.
This is the best radio we've had in a long time in terms of good laughs there.
But
maybe-
you know how guys meet girls, maybe in a lounge or something. They buy them a drink.
Yes,
they pay for her
exactly.
groceries.
Yeah, so you bought her a candy
So
bar.
I paid for the groceries.
You
Oh,
bought-
wow. You paid for the groceries?
That was nice.
I hope it was a big bill, Teresa. That is great. Well, listen, maybe getting back to the subject here. Alfred, tell us about the sunrise service Saturday. Where is it located?
Oh, it's going to be located at the 39th Street Beach, or head off the lake, where we had it normally for the past few years. And it's a great opportunity for parishioners to come out and pray and to be more aware of our situation with violence and how we can address issues and encourage each other to do better.
I think it's also, Alfred, the first time I met you is on this radio program years ago because of your work with Zacchaeus House. You've actually been in charge and running Zacchaeus House for how many years?
14 years.
14 years.
14 years.
Do you want to explain what
Yeah.
Zacchaeus House is?
See, Mark
to our
doesn't know.
listeners?
Mark would know Zacchaeus House.
No, I've heard
Well,
of
the
it. But
Zacchaeus House was first discussed years ago in 1999 with Bishop Joseph Perry and a group of deacons trying to address homelessness among men in the city of Chicago. Deacon Abrams Sally was the first director and also one of the founders of Zacchaeus House. It opened up in 2003. Deacon Sally passed in 2007, and that's when I came on staff after that.
Okay.
So each man can stay in a house for up to 2 years, get their life together.
beautiful.
And each man has a deacon mentor to help encourage them and guide them towards a better life. So the goal is for them to be to move out and be independent and to be a successful citizen. And
See,
also
Mark-
give us an opportunity to share our faith with them.
And I met actually Alfred when I had a gentleman many years ago that I hooked in with Alfred to get him into Zacchaeus House. And this was a long time ago. That's how I met Alfred through Zacchaeus House
Wow.
and the great work that he does over there. And so
How would people? I'm sorry. How would people? If there's a pastor listening or a parish leader listening, and they have a homeless man that they'd like to refer, how do they do that?
Well, they can call us at 773-568-7822.
that number once
Or
again,
he can
Alfred.
773-568-7822. He also can Google Zacchaeus House and also go to the Archdiocese website. We have a link off the Archdiocese website.
Beautiful.
That's wonderful.
Can I go back? I had a question of Teresa because I noticed
Sure.
on your when it had your name and your position, you're Executive Director of Parenting for Nonviolence.
That is correct.
Could you tell us a little bit about that organization and how does your work fit into what the Deacons are doing?
Oh, our work fits in directly. I have to say that because of the Deacons and their desire to address the issue of violence is the catalyst for Parenting for Nonviolence. We started developing ourselves back in 2010 and eventually incorporated in 2012. And it was because the Deacons began to address the issue of violence. And a small group of us got together and decided that parenting education would be a method for addressing violence.
Beautiful, beautiful. You
That's
know what?
great.
We're going to take a little break and come back and talk some more about that with our listeners. WNDZ 750 AM, Catholic Chicago, 312-255-8408. Or you can go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. We'll be back with Leroy, Teresa Gill, and Deacon Alfred Coleman in a few minutes and continue our fascinating conversation. Please stay tuned.
There is so much waiting for you at Catholic Charities Senior Services. We offer programs and services to help make the most of every day. Friendships and fun are guaranteed at our drop-in senior centers. Our adult daycare centers offer enjoyment and greater supervision to seniors who need it, while their caregivers get a break. Holy Family Villa provides a beautiful, safe environment for seniors looking for short or long-term residential facility. And we offer assistance with senior benefits, care coordination, congregate and home-delivered meals, hospital transition, and much more. For more than 100 years, we have accompanied seniors through every transition in their lives, and we are here for you now. Catholic Charities is a name and an agency you can trust. Call Senior Services today at 312-655-7700. That's 312-655-7700.
We're back. Catholic Chicago, WNDZ, 750 AM on your dial, 312-255-8408. Or you can go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. We're speaking with Leroy Teresa Gill and Deacon Leroy Gill and Teresa and Deacon Alfred Coleman. Deacon Alfred, give us an overview for you in terms of the violence that you're dealing with, and this service is in response to. What are the components of violence that you see in the neighborhood that we really need to address and pray for?
Components?
Yeah, what are the issues?
When it comes, go ahead.
No, go ahead. What are the issues you see in terms of the violence that we're praying for at this service?
I think one of the things we need to open up communication with all people in our neighborhoods, from the police to civilians to our youth and those who are older in our neighborhoods, to get to know each other and also break barriers between each other, to talk about life issues and let everyone know that we actually are one community. For some reason, there's a divide there. And also that we need to encourage our youth, the ones who are carrying guns and doing the violence, we need to embrace them and let them know they're part of the community, that we love them and care for them.
Alfred, I have to ask you this question. That is, you were born and raised in Chicago, correct?
Yes.
Oh, what high school?
Simeon.
Okay, Simeon. Oh,
Public school.
yeah.
Simeon vocational. I became Catholic at church at college.
Oh, did you
SIU
really?
Newman Center. Yeah.
No kidding. Well, the thing is now, you were high school class of what?
81.
81. Okay, well, you're young. I'm Notre Dame Niles, class of 71, so you're young. Now, being the class of 81 all these years, what changes have you seen from your own youth, your days in Chicago as a youth, to the young people today? What has shifted? What has changed? What's gotten better? What's gotten worse?
I know neighborhoods were closer. There were more bar clubs and people knew each other. And also people were more respectful towards each other. And also there was a security in employment and security in education and confidence as a people. So when I was younger, it was safer to walk the streets and everyone seemed to know each other and respect each other. And when there was even if there was a pocket of people who just was misbehaving, they weren't physically violent. You know, there was no gunplay. So.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I mean, Leroy and Teresa, I'm asking you both the same question. Are you both born and raised in Chicago?
I am not. I am not from Chicago.
Where are you from, Teresa?
I am from Greensboro, North Carolina.
North Carolina. And you came to Chicago at what age?
I came to Chicago, oh my goodness, in my 20s.
And that's when you walked in the grocery store?
Yes. Then I met the man in the grocery store.
Who was following you? Yeah, and then Leroy, you're Chicago born, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
What high school?
Mount Carmel.
Mount Carmel, okay. And what class were you?
75.
Okay, so you're actually a little bit closer in age. Now, then being Chicago raised yourself, Leroy, and the question I asked to Alfred, what changes have you seen from your childhood until now? Better or worse?
I mean, things have gotten bad, of course, since my childhood. And I'll kind of coincide with Deacon Alfred. You know, we were safe. We had our neighborhoods, we were very close. But one thing that I remember that I try to encourage, I minister at a grammar school, St. Benedict. And I always remember that our parents were all friends as well. Mm-hmm. Any friend that I had, their parents were my parents' friends. Mm. They would get to know them, and all the families knew each other. You know, when we would be in the park, we were safe. And on certain days of the week, the parents would be out there with us. You know, we played sports with our families. And there were gangs getting started, I would say, when I was a kid. Some of the gangs today were just getting started. Mm-hmm. But and the same thing when I went to Mount Carmel was, you know, there was gang banging going on, but it wasn't to the extent of people shooting and killing each other.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing that's got me scared. It's the shooting and the killing, and shooting and the killing of our youth.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up with one of the heads of a gang, I'll just say, who's in prison now. But when we were younger, and then as he got older, I always remember the rule that he had was that no certain activities would go on in the community. You know, it was a difference. It wasn't just out there shooting in the crowds and shooting our children and you know, and shooting on the Dan Ryan or the expressways. None of that would have happened. Was happening back then.
That's interesting you say that. This gentleman that you grew up with, who's now in prison, they had a code of like an unwritten rule: certain areas of violence not to take place,
Exactly.
in the community,
Yeah, there
in
was
the
a
neighborhood,
rule.
at
There was a
school.
rule.
And the rule was you don't go shooting randomly and killing children, or picking, you know, off the Dan Ryan Expressway or another expressway.
Right.
And also then I got to ask a question. This will include Teresa. Is what changed the rules?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, what changed the rules? I mean, because you're talking, there's always been violence when growing up. I get that, but today there's no respect for human life, and every day killings of innocent people, and you just shake your head and say this has to stop. So part of the prayer service is to pray for nonviolence and that there's another way, and you become, the three of you, beacons of hope and light in a community where the violence is, all three are saying, is out of control. So I guess what changed the rules?
I've often thought, and then I'll let my wife and Alfred. You know, I think when this is just my opinion, and I'm no professor or anything, but I've noticed that when we tore down projects, we scattered folks. And I've often been concerned about that, where, you know, now there appears to be gangs on every block. And I think that's part of the problem.
Now, before we hear from Teresa and Alfred on the same thing, you know, what changed the rules? Mark takes to break.
Okay.
That's a great. I like that. That's an interesting response, Leroy. I've never heard that angle.
WNDZ 750 AM, Catholic Chicago, 312-255-8408. Or you can go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. We'll be back in a few minutes. Please stay tuned.
Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, Catholic Charities has continued to respond to the needs of people who come to us for assistance. More than 850,000 meals and food parcels have been offered to those who are struggling with food insecurity. Over 108,000 homelessness prevention hotline calls have been answered. Over 22,000 people have received mental health services, and $2 million in financial assistance has been provided to keep people housed. If you or someone you know needs assistance, email us at gethelp@catholiccharities.net. That's gethelp@catholiccharities.net. Or call 312-655-7700. That's 312-655-7700. Before, during, and after COVID-19, Catholic Charities is here for you.
The cemetery ministry is a core ministry of our Catholic faith tied to the corporal works of mercy. It's comforting to know that our Catholic cemeteries are caring for the remains of our loved ones awaiting the resurrection. There are 44 Archdiocese of Chicago Catholic cemeteries willing to help you in your time of loss. Call 708-449-6100 or visit CatholicCemeteriesChicago.org. Catholic Cemeteries, serving the Catholic community since 1837.
You're listening to Catholic Chicago on WNDZ 750 AM. Every Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 9 a.m., the Archdiocese of Chicago presents programming about the people, events, and issues that touch our lives. Thanks for letting us be part of your morning. Now again, Catholic Chicago.
We're back, Catholic Chicago, WNDZ 750 AM on your dial, 312-255-8408. You can also go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago, and we're talking about the Sunrise Prayer Service that's going to be August 7th, 8 to 9 a.m., 39th Street Beach, and to focus, to pray together for nonviolence and peace and the healing of our families, our schools, our communities. Alfred, same question that Leroy was talking about. What changed the rules here?
I think our youth are different. I think they're don't have a lot of future plans, and something like they have given up hope, not planning for the future. So they're pretty much insecure, and also I think there's a disconnect between us and them.
Say more about the disconnect, Alfred.
Well, it's rare for a family to turn upon itself, but it's easier for people across the street to be negative towards each other. So I mean, this means that the youth today, or those committing the gun violence, don't feel connected to society. I don't know, was it personally or emotionally? So it's easy to not care about the harm they give them, because there's a disconnect.
That's interesting.
Now, Teresa, you're working parenting for nonviolence. What changed?
What's your take on this, Teresa?
Yeah, what changed with the parents that you're working with? What changed from years ago? Leroy's kind of community. In every community, I think every ethnic community had that dynamic of everybody's parents watched everybody's kids, and those kids knew you better behave, because so-and-so will call my mom and let me know I didn't behave. So what about it, Teresa?
What's your take on this?
What do you see?
I mean, the issue of violence is, and why people behave as they do, it's complex, and there are a lot of reasons. And, we can look at research and so forth and so on that discusses the protective factors necessary for individuals to thrive, as well as communities. Listening to Deacon Coleman and Leroy, and you have also stated, there was community. There was this family that desired to uplift and ensure that their children were going to thrive, and communities looked out for each other. That's broken. Yeah. That's broken. And for many reasons, as Deacon Coleman mentioned, children are out here. They don't have necessarily what they need within the family necessarily, or the family is stressed out trying to make ends meet and aren't available emotionally to their children. And then you have a community that may be in disarray. So I remember this young man years ago. He was about 13 years old, and I was working with a group of teens. And I don't know how we got on this topic, But he looked at me and he said, Mrs. Gill, why don't older people like us?
Oh,
Wow. Wow.
You see, they have to feel loved. They have to feel that they belong. They have to feel acceptance. And when we see young people, like the young men, sometimes their fashion statement of wearing their pants kind of hanging off of them, we don't like it. But how do we approach them? Do we turn our noses up? Do we scowl and say harsh things? So,
See, I think Teresa, you've said some powerful comments. That sense of belonging,
yes,
that sense of acceptance. Also, in listening to all three of you, I find from what you're saying, for many young people, they're living without a sense of hope, almost a sense of hopelessness. Who cares that my actions, there's no need for consequences because it's all futile anyway, and that sense of hopelessness. And to have, that sense of belonging is important, that sense of acceptance, or as you were alluding to, all of you, that sense of belonging is now gang-related to find their acceptance, but to be part of this gang, you end up doing horrific things to be, quote, a member and a sense of belonging, and the whole thing is just spiraling out of control. In fact, even though it's a minute early, Mark, take us to break, because when we come back, I want to talk about the prayer service, which is really in response to this whole sense of violence that we have to turn the corner and be beacons of light and hope for many who are living without hope. Take it to break, Mark.
And that Deacon Leroy, Teresa, and Deacon Alfred's commitment is hope. They're committed to hope.
And not extinguish that candle.
Right, exactly. WNDZ, 750 AM, Catholic Chicago, 312-255-8408. You can also go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. When we come back, we'll talk some more about our sunrise prayer service on August 7th, 39th Street Beach, and a prayer service where we pray for nonviolence and peace, the healing of our families, schools, and our communities. We'll be back in a few minutes. Please stay tuned.
I feel special. I feel great. I got good grades.
We've seen a huge surge in our kids now meeting or exceeding grade level. Come check us out. You may have never thought we were an option before.
Caring adults make all the difference in the lives of adolescents. Catholic Charities understands this, and our mentorship program provides a free opportunity for youth living in Lake County to spend time, virtually, with volunteers who genuinely care about them. This program is ideal for youths age 9 to 12 who may need support navigating the challenges of childhood and early adolescence. Our amazing volunteers serve as friends and role models who help youth recognize their strengths and empower them to reach their full potential. Catholic Charities conducts a thorough background check on every volunteer, and our program coordinator closely monitors and supports each relationship. Mentoring is a fun after-school program that is totally different from remote learning. Virtual group sessions help youth enjoy fun activities with their peers, too. We're connecting youth with great role models. Join us today. To learn more, call 312-937-3375. That's 312-937-3375.
We're back. WNDZ 750 AM on your dial. Catholic Chicago. 312-255-8408. Or you can go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. Father Greg Sakowitz here. Mark Tracy assisting him this morning. And we're talking specifically with Deacon Leroy Gill, Miss Teresa Gill, Deacon Alfred Coleman about the Sunrise prayer service on August 7th, praying for nonviolence and peace, the healing of our families, our schools, and our communities. Deacon Alfred, give our listeners some specifics in terms of the service itself, place, time, components of the service, anything you can do to encourage people to come.
Experience for people of God to come together and pray. And the location is gorgeous. It's right off the lake. The view is unbelievable. And also the atmosphere just is they're prayerful and just open for people to feel loved and cared for. It's a place where we just come in and just deal with our issues of our city. It's almost as if we're just pretty much just standing there facing towards a heavenly view and putting the main issues of our city behind us as we look towards the lake and just come together and pray and worship. And also I suggest everyone, if you're coming, to bring a chair.
Yeah.
And also look forward to it, and also bring a friend. It's a great opportunity for people to come together and just pray and worship. As people of God, it's our place to take issues to God.
Now, Alfred, do people need to sign up ahead of time, or do they just show up on Saturday, get their butt quartered 8? So again, it'll be this Saturday, August 7th. Yep. 7:45 a.m. arrive, 8 o'clock service begins, sunrise prayer service. Please bring your own chair. So it's called BYOC. Bring your own chair.
Can I ask this? But what exit is it? So people know geographically as they're moving, driving there, where do they get off and those specifics? Is there a 39th Street exit?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And then
off of of course, Lakeshore Drive there.
And they can get off at Lakeshore Drive at Oakwood Boulevard.
Okay.
Oakwood Boulevard. Okay, good. That helps
there's
a lot.
North and South exit at Oakwood Boulevard. And if they were on the Dan Ryan, they would get off at Pershing Road and then go straight across Pershing to the beach.
Okay.
Now, Leroy, are you going to preach? You were preaching in that video that we saw. Are you going to be preaching that day?
No, I preached last year.
Who's preaching this year?
Father Talani from St. Sabina.
Oh,
wonderful.
Sure. Father Talani, yeah.
Well, give us a little bit of your message from last year. Do you remember what you preached about? I'm sure you do. I'm sure you
wrote it. Les Teresa wrote it.
Copious.
There's 2 stories to that too.
I'm writing.
That is great.
No, our message last year was that the theme last year was "No Ways Tired," and we preached about not giving up hope, because we can't give up. So we just kept stressing the importance of prayer. And in the history of the sunrise, the thought comes from a couple scriptures. One scripture was in Luke's gospel, where Jesus told his disciples that they should pray and not give up. And then Jesus asked, will not God bring around justice for his chosen ones who cry out to him day and night? Pray to God for your heart, for the restoration and healing. That's where the healing of the hearts, healing of the family comes from. It's all scriptural based. Jesus got up early in the morning and went to the mountains and prayed. When it was still dark, he went and prayed. So I preached about not losing hope, continue to pray. But I also preached about what parents are feeling. Our mothers crying out to God. Asking God, why? Oh, yeah. Why, God? Why? Why did I have to lose my child? Why are these children doing these things? There's lamenting going on in a lot of homes. And we need to pray for these mothers and these fathers and sisters and brothers who are losing these loved ones.
And just
And
Leroy,
that's
as
the
you're talking
importance of
about,
this service.
and that sounds like part of a great homily that your message last year, and not only the grieving, the lamenting going on for losing loved ones. I always say, no parent should ever bury a child, no matter the age. We bury our parents at a ripe old age, but for a parent to bury a child is beyond. I can't even fathom that. But also, as parents are now living their lives this day moving forward, for fear, will something happen to my child today? Before we go to break, Teresa, you've been involved in some of these prayer services, these sunrise prayer services in past years. How have these prayer services touched your heart? Where have you walked? How have you walked away from it differently?
It gives me the courage, the inspiration to continue to seek out how we can touch others, how we can take on the responsibility of making change. Change doesn't happen. Yes, we pray. And we pray that everyone take on a role to address the issue of violence. And it can be in various areas. You know, people want to say, well, what can I do? I don't know what to do. I want to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the deacons have things that individuals can do, from mothers and fathers to youth to business owners to faith communities. It's an inspiration, and you know, again, it led to our creating Parenting for Nonviolence. That's the answer. That's how it's inspired.
You know, for those that are watching on YouTube, these are tremendous video footage from last year or the previous year before that. Gorgeous shots of Lake Michigan, a large gathering of people in prayer. So some tremendous footage here if you're watching YouTube. Mark, take us to break. And by the way, Teresa, those were great responses. That touched me.
Right, and maybe when we come back and invite people again to the service, but it'd be fascinating to talk about your diaconate, how the diaconate really fits in to the messages that you're trying to communicate to folks. WNDZ 750 AM on your dial. Catholic Chicago 312-255-8408, or you can go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. We'll be back in a few minutes. Please stay tuned.
Do you have a gently used laptop or desktop computer that is gathering dust in your home? Consider donating to our Catholic Charities Veterans Computer Project. We will clean out your device, give it new software, and repurpose it for a veteran who is looking for employment. Your gift will make an incredible difference in a veteran's ability to find a job. Catholic Charities provides veteran services throughout Lake and suburban Cook counties, giving participants an array of professional and personal support. Our veterans have served our country, and it is our privilege to serve them. To learn more about Catholic Charities Veterans Services and the Veterans Computer Project, call 847-782-4219. That's 847-782-4219.
We're back. Catholic Chicago, WNDZ, 750 AM, 312-255-8408. Or you can go to youtube.com/Catholic Chicago. Father Greg Sakowicz, Mark Teresi here, working with Father Greg on a tremendous message that Leroy, Teresa, and Alfred are communicating to our broader Chicago Catholic and ecumenical community.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pray together on August 7th, 8 to 9, sunrise service, 39th Street Beach. Alfred, let's talk a little bit in our last segment here. Your call to the diaconate. How did that happen?
Oh, wow. It actually started earlier, not too soon after I was became Catholic. And 2 years after baptism, and I became a member of the Knights of Columbus. I was ushering at the church and felt the calling to go deeper in my faith and to be more involved at the parish level. My parish at the time was a Newmanton in Carbondale, and so that was the gym during the weekdays.
Do you know what?
Yeah,
I think
Alfred, you're breaking up there, Alfred. We're going to have to put you on hold for a second there with
Why don't we
Michael and Javi trying to fix this here.
Why don't we go to Leroy
in your
with
story?
Your story of the diaconate, and then Alfred will come back when it clears up a little bit.
Same question, Leroy. Your story of the diaconate.
Well, my story is I was at Holy Angels Church, working with Father Clemens, George Clemens, and he had gotten me involved in a lot of ministries at the church. And at that time, I was struggling with my faith. I had graduated from high school and became, I was an adult, and Father Clemens pulled me back into the church and fed me. And as time went on, he retired and different pastors came, and I was involved as a lecturer. I was parish council, I was finance council. I was doing a lot of things around the church, and the deacon there at the time, Deacon Roy, was getting a little old, looking to retire. And he kept asking me to consider the diaconate. And I ran from that. I wasn't, I don't know if the word is, I didn't feel worthy to be a deacon. But he kept pursuing me. And one time when I believe we were going on vacation, he gave me the application for the diaconate and told me to think about it. And while we were on vacation, he passed away.
Wow.
So that was my moment of reckoning with God, I guess, because I said, "Oh Lord," there's no way I could say no. So I met with my pastor, and I guess the rest is history.
Now, at this point, Leroy, were you married with Teresa?
Oh yeah.
So which means I so believe in this, and that is.
I think our kids were in college, or some of them were out of college. I think they were in college.
Okay, so they're in college or out of college. Now, Teresa, I always say that when it comes to a deacon ordained or studying, it's really a diaconal couple in terms of your involvement. So as Leroy was considering, struggling, yes and no, where are you in this whole conversation? Were you encouraging Leroy? Were you saying you were discerning with him? Maybe your perspective in the story.
I think any woman would want their husband to chase after God. So
like
yes, my dear. If God is calling you, then you answer the call.
So you were very, very supportive from day one in the journey, in the whole process.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Yes.
That's interesting. Now, have we gotten? That's a great story. Has Alfred come back to us? Is it clear, Michael and Javi? No. So they're still working on it. So again, we just have a couple of minutes left here, and I have found it to be such a fascinating discussion. You had a question there, Mark?
No, I was just going to ask. Now I just saw Alfred back.
I think we're going to have to hold off on Alfred.
Okay. No, I was just going to ask Leroy and Teresa to give us an invitation again to the folks to this special event.
For Saturday.
For Saturday. I want to just say that the Black Deacons sponsor this, but the whole diaconate is a part of this. We get our support from the Diaconate Council, and all deacons come out. So we encourage priests, all clergy and deacons to come out and pray with us, as well as the people of God. We'll be out there, and I have to make a correction on the time.
Mm-hmm.
The service is from 6:30 a.m. to 8 a.m.
Okay.
Say that again and again and again.
Okay, 6:30.
Yeah, the service, it's a sunrise service. So it starts when the sun is rising. We're out there. So
for those like to sleep in and
6:30 a.m.
Okay. All right, so when I saw sunrise service 8 to 9, I thought the sun's. I'm an early person. It's usually light out, so it.
And get there early, I would imagine, because it looks like a pretty big crowd.
Yeah, so people typically start coming around 6.
Okay, so this Saturday, 39th Street Beach.
It's this Saturday.
6:30 begins. We get there 6:15. They're talking a beautiful weekend coming up weather-wise. No rain in the forecast, and so it should be beautiful, truly a beautiful sunrise service beginning at 6:30. We need to bring this program to a close, so I want to thank in a very, very special way Deacon Leroy Gill, Mrs. Teresa Gill. You've been a wonderful couple to join us this morning.
Yes.
Also, Deacon Alfred Coleman. We've lost you in the last couple of minutes, but to Leroy, Teresa, and Alfred, you have been tremendous guests. Men and a woman of profound, deep faith. Keep up the great work you're doing. This has been an inspiring program with many laughs too in this last hour. So again, the sunrise service, 6:30 to 8 a.m. Sunrise prayer service, sponsored by the Black Catholic Deacons of Chicago in collaboration with many priests, deacons, and laity from various communities. Join us this Saturday. Special thanks to co-host Mark Teresi. Great work again, Mark. We're teaming up with you. Great work of our producers, engineers, Michael May, Javi Garcia. To all of our listeners, may God bless all of you. And by the way, this weekend, the White Sox visit the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field, 3-game series, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. May the best team win. God bless. Great week.
Yes.
Join us every Monday through Friday at this time for Catholic Chicago. You can stream our programs live or listen to past programs by visiting our website, archchicago.org, and clicking on Radio TV. And please connect with Catholic Chicago on social media.